Cometh the hour, cometh the man, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Chelsea need a conventional central defensive midfielder, one that can stop transitions, create physicality in midfield, and why not try and score the odd goal? Ideally, could last 90 minutes, but like I said, cometh the hour, cometh the man, ladies and gentlemen. Step forward, Denis Zakaria, the peculiar case of Denis Zakaria, the paradox of Chelsea's latest acquisition in the transfer market. A £200,000 a week salary loan from Juventus, a player that's not worked out there, but was regarded as a fantastic central defensive midfielder in the Bundesliga when playing for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Therefore recommended by previous coach Thomas Tuchel to come to Chelsea, had yet to play, made his debut. Chelsea beat Dinamo Zagreb in what was a dead rubber for us. But it wasn't a dead rubber for them, ladies and gentlemen. This team, this Croatian champion, Dinamo Zagreb, was playing. By the way, they gave us a hard time in the reverse fixture. They were playing for European football. It wasn't a dead rubber for them. Graham Potter comes in with a back four system, a 3-4-1-2 formation. And you know what, mate? Maybe... Hold on. You know what? Let's get the microphones up because this is an important one. It may be a dead rubber for us, but that's possibly why the pressure was seemingly off and we had some great performances and a couple of goals from players that you could say perhaps need them or benefited them. And I feel good about this formation. Headlines. Microphones down. So this is your post-match presser of Chelsea 2. Dinamo Zagreb 1. Chelsea had already topped the group, but you know what? Let's have another 3 points. YOLO. No, we didn't play the kids. No, we didn't take a look at the youths. Yes, there was some bad news, and largely for potentially England with Ben Chilwell coming off. We did learn a little bit more about certain players, and we will discuss that in today's presser, in today's post-match presser. So thanks for joining me, mate. It's lovely to see you here. I enjoy your company, and if you enjoy mine, please do drop a like on the video. Hey, that's kind, and you're welcome to subscribe, and should you choose to do so, I recommend you hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Okay, I've had better. I've just had loads of food, therefore, off key, off tone. Anyway, look, Graham Potter... obviously tinkering a little bit in this game, going with a 4-3-1-2, so it's essentially a 4-3-3, but rather than a conventional striker, you have a number 10 behind 2 forwards, and it went a little something like this. We had Edouard Mendy in goal, unsurprisingly due to Kepa's injury, and I think if you can't, if Mendy can't get a start in what is, like I said, a dead rubber for us after being a record breaker in terms of clean sheets in the Champions League, then he's in trouble. So no, he got a start today. He could have done a little bit better on the Zagreb goal, but he also made a couple of good saves. So, fair enough. Good outing for Mendy. We had Koulibaly starting next to Trevor Chalobah as a central 2 partnership, with Ben Chilwell playing conventional left back and Cesar Azpilicueta playing conventional right back. Makes sense so far, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the midfield three is a very interesting one and worth talking about, because the conventional CDM, or the central defensive player, wasn't Zakaria who started, it was Jorginho. So we went full regista, metronomic game setter, a pace setter for a game, and he played pretty well. Mason Mount and Denis Zakaria flanked Jorginho in the midfield three. Now, this is probably a little bit deeper than Mason Mount would like to play, because he's a self-proclaimed number 8, Mason Mount, which is a midfielder that plays a little bit in front of a CDM, but when usually there isn't a number 10. I feel like he played a little bit deeper today. So it's probably a little bit deeper than what he's used to be playing, or what he wants to be. So if he's a number 8, it's a conventional 4-3-3, usually, or a 4-5-2. And the number 8s are really pushing behind the front 2 or 3 players. Whereas, of course, we had Kai Havertz in between. So therefore, Mason Mount was pushed back a little bit further than perhaps he'd usually like to play. And Denis Zakaria, in that case, a little bit more license to roam. But out of the 3, he probably played a little bit tighter to Jorginho then Mason Money Mount. So Kai Havertz in front of those three in the number 10, and by the way, he looks a lot more comfortable in that role. And then you had a sort of rotational front two of Sterling and Aubameyang, who both got a goal contribution, which is lovely stuff. We made 5 substitutions. We saw Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher, Pulisic, Silva, and Armando Broja. So we had a 3-1-4-2, which is essentially a 3-5-2 from Zagreb, the away team. And it went a little something like this. They scored the opening goal on the 7th minute. A goal from Bruno Petkovic. At this point, I'm thinking, dead rubber, but still, it's not what you want to see after a loss against Brighton. And to be honest, I'm looking at the Who Scored match center graphic here, and it's saying it was an Azpilicueta error that led to goal. I think that's a bit harsh. I don't think anyone in the back four was covered in glory, perhaps, for this goal. I also think Mendy could have probably done a little bit better on it. Maybe he's a little bit cold, a little bit rusty from being on the bench, or certainly just coming off the bench in the last game, and just generally being cold from not playing. Possibly, I don't think any of the back five necessarily covered themselves in glory in defending this goal, ladies and gentlemen. But, it happened. It was early doors. Like I said, they had something to play for. We didn't. But it didn't take long for Chelsea to retaliate and score the equaliser. In fact, it was the 18th minute. And pleased to see that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who, by the way, hit the crossbar, hit the woodwork from what was a lovely shot later on in the game, which, is a testament to a confident striker, I guess. He got the assist, technically. I don't know how assisty this assist was, but it was really good work from Raheem Sterling to keep the ball outside the box, work it onto his left foot and put it in the corner, which is his wrong foot, his weaker foot. And he celebrated that goal like he really wanted it. And he was absolutely due a goal, Raheem Sterling. And make no bones about it, man. This is still a goal in the Champions League under the lights at Stamford Bridge. Yes, we don't need the points, but it's an important moment for him, and it shows you it means something, which is great. So Chelsea are drawing with Zagreb at 1-1. And we take the lead, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in the 30th minute. And you know who scores it? It's that boy who's making his first appearance for the season for Chelsea. This on the 2nd of November. The aforementioned Swiss international Denis Zakaria, the, once Borussia Mönchengladbach, now Juventus, loanee to Chelsea on pretty heavy wages, but yeah, and a good goal, man, sort of floating around deep after a sort of set piece or a chance or something. The ball falls to him, I can't remember, 20, 25, 30 yards, maybe not that far. And he puts it in, he scores a great goal, and up until that point in the opening 30 minutes, he's been playing like a CDM. Granted, he's not playing in that lone central position like Jorginho is, but man, yeah, he's looked good. He's looked interceptive, he's looked strong, he's looked good, and he scored what essentially became the winner. In the 64th minute, we take off Havertz for Gallagher comes on. Shortly after, we take off Aubameyang and Koulibaly for Silva and Broja, rotating minutes here. Zakaria actually goes off with an injury, rather worryingly, on the 71st minute. And maybe Ruben Loftus-Cheek comes on for him, and maybe there lies the issue. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Because personally, had he had the fitness to go on, this was almost certainly a game for him to play 90 if he's been playing, games behind closed doors and doing training and he's rested, and perhaps it's not necessarily you don't trust him yet. You're like, oh mate, you play the 90 minutes. If there's one player that can play the 90 minutes against Zagreb, provided their fitness is there, it's Denis Zakaria. But yeah, he had what looked like a sort of, light injury. Hopefully it's only light for him and for Chelsea. And, yeah, and then Ruben comes on to replace him. I doubt that was a plan from how it looked like on the bench, which is a shame, because it would have been nice to see him just not comfortably, but at least see out the 90. So we're like, okay, but we can trust you for 60, 70 minutes in a Prem game. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that would have been nice. Still, you can't grumble too much when he had a good defensive performance. Again, lower tier sort of competition, but a team that was playing for something when we weren't. For him to come out and do that was great. Ruben comes on, of course. Pulisic comes on later for Raheem Sterling to play as a sort of front player rather than a wing back. So both Sterling and Pulisic had the opportunity, granted Pulisic a very short opportunity to play in what ultimately was a front two, ladies and gentlemen. And let's talk about player performances. Mendy in goal. I'll be very keen to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below, but I do think he could have done better on the Zagreb goal. Let me know if I'm being harsh, though. I will absolutely accept that if you think I am being harsh. I think Azpilicueta was poor. I've sort of, whether I've been calling him live on the channel or on podcast appearances and stuff, I've certainly been yearning a little bit for Azpilicueta to play a conventional wide position, especially after seeing the Pulisic and Sterling wing-backs in the Prem against Brighton in that horror show. He was poor in this game. He wasn't like a horror show. I'm looking at who scored here. They've given him the lowest rank of a Chelsea player, I believe. So yeah, it's disappointing. I believe Chalobah was good, again, as he has been. He didn't have the greatest day against Brighton, but he won a lot of aerial duels here. He looked good to me. Koulibaly, good to see him back. He got a yellow. He had to, I think he came off, but, you know. Chilwell, again, it was good to see a conventional fullback out of the two, out of Chilwell and Azpilicueta. Ben Chilwell was by far the superior player. He did his hamstring at the end. Very worrying indeed. Yeah, I think we'd made 5 subs by then, so we ended the game with 10 players, but it was very little to go. But yeah, he pulled up and hit the deck, and that sucks for him, man. We'll probably end up playing Cucurella as a left back. Well, we definitely will in his absence. Should we not play, these attacking wing backs again that are essentially wingers? But yeah, Graham Potter will be concerned, but so will Gareth Southgate. And yeah, really poor to see. I actually think Jorginho was very good, but he usually is in Champions League and these kind of games where he can put his foot on the ball and dictate play. Mason Mount, like Kai Havertz, so Kai Havertz just playing on Mason Mount, in front of Mason Mount. I think they were both really good. Granted, neither of them scored or assist. But I want to be careful. They weren't amazing, but they looked comfortable and they looked like they were expressing themselves. Both of them, both Kai Havertz and Mason Mount, did some excellent one-touch football, like these little glancing sort of touches that show, confidence. I don't know, I nearly said arrogance, but these, like, when you're really good footballer, you can do these things. Kai Havertz is mustard, mate. He's a Rolls Royce. I will die on this hill. It's getting it out of him. He's always better when he plays a little bit deeper, when he can sort of ghost in late, when he can link play. And Mason Mount is more industrious. He will score goals. He will get in the final third, but he likes his starting point being a little bit deeper. And like I said, he's a self-proclaimed number 8. He said it himself. And Zakaria, man, he looks like a different player profile that we haven't had, and he absolutely is. This is something we spoke about early doors. When we signed him, we're like, this guy's a big, strong CDM. And he's got a bit of everything, and he demonstrated that today. Who scores giving him the highest rating out of him, Jorginho and Mount? Largely, I imagine, because he scored the goal. Obviously, fitness is a concern. He had to come off because he looked like he had a knock or he was done fitness-wise. But yeah, he looks the part, man. If he can keep up with Premier League football, if he can do it, then in terms of profile and style of play, he could be just the tonic, but that is a massive if. That's a massive if. But ultimately, he scored the winner, man. Sterling, great goal, like I said earlier in the video. Composed finish. Aubameyang, very pleased. He hit the bar. He nearly scored an excellent goal to go with his assist. Loftus-Cheek, fine, neutral off the bench. Thiago Silva, fine, neutral off the bench. Gallagher, impressive off the bench. He's been generally impressive of late. Very, very high-octane play, pressing, winning fouls, just looking like an absolute weapon. The commentary team on BT Sports said he's just a general all-around weapon in the final third, whether that's defence, to high turnovers, industry, pressing, assisting or scoring. And I am inclined to agree, and I think Pulisic looked great off the bench. And he absolutely deserves a shout-out. And although I was waxing lyrical about Gallagher, he kind of robbed Pulisic of an assist in stoppage time, certainly very late in the game, where Pulisic did some excellent work, played a ball in, and Gallagher sort of hits it straight at the Zagreb goalkeeper Livakovic. So yeah, but you know, both of them were really, really good and deserve a shout out. If you ask me, ultimately, rotation, back four, burping. You know, prior to the Arsenal game, resting certain players. Good opportunity to see this formation shape. Certain players that would be rested and good to go again. You're thinking your Mason Mounts, you're thinking your Havertz and Gallagher's, Sterling's and Aubameyangs. You know, you could look at their movements. Hopefully Koulibaly's good to start against Arsenal. Very, very pleased, but I think the headline goes with Denis Zakaria. The concern is his fitness, but the headline is his profile. And him looking very good in a Champions League game for Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, man. Let me know what you think, dude. Comment down below. Thank you for joining me. Drop a like, it means a lot. And you're welcome to sub, etc, etc, etc. Keep it locked, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.